So today's video is super special because we are today at the office of one of our colleagues in the UNPA. You must be wondering what UNPA is, so this video is all about that, and let's get started. So, what is your name and what do you do?
Hello, I'm Samuel. I've been working with the United Nations Postal Administration for a bit more than 3 years now, and to be more specific, I'm with sales and marketing. So basically I do outreach pertaining to UNPA, so everyone can know about what we do.
So, getting into the ground, what is UNPA? What does it do?
So UNPA, full name United Nations Postal Administration, is a very small team within the United Nations Secretariat, which is tasked with issuing United Nations stamps. So our HQ is based in New York. We are the team, a very small team. One could say we are perhaps a philatelic bureau. We issue and design and sell the United Nations stamps all over the world, but here more specifically, part of the United Nations Secretariat, which has been issuing United Nations stamps since 1951. The idea of the United Nations issuing stamps was proposed by Argentina in 1947. The goal behind that is for the UN to emit its own stamps, which of course is valid for sending letters within the issuing office, but mostly the idea was to promote the values. October 1951, the UNPA issued its very first stamps in New York. It was a success it was a success back then, and since then we have expanded to 2 other offices, and we now issue stamps in Geneva, so specifically for the Palais des Nations in Geneva, and in Vienna, specifically for the Vienna International Center.
Quite interesting. So I see very colorful stamps here and a wide variety of pictures. So what is the concept and design behind this, and who designs these stamps?
So we work with artists, but a lot of it is done internally. So you mentioned, of course, we have to come up with a concept. So that is something we mostly do in-house with the help and approval of a stamp advisory committee, which is based in New York. So, for example, we are working here at the UN, and we are working toward common goals. So for the sake of argument, I'm going to talk of SDGs, otherwise the Sustainable Development Goals. So this is a sheet called Act Now, which we issued in order to promote the Sustainable Development Goals, and most importantly, how us as individuals can help be more responsible and work towards a more sustainable current future. We work with countries as well. For example, I would like to mention this one, which we produced in cooperation with the Indian mission in New York for Diwali. But most importantly, I would say that the most important issue, at least the most popular, is the one on endangered species, which we do every year. The endangered species and the threat to biodiversity in general is probably one of the most important challenges of our time. And therefore, aside of our commitment to peace and disarmament, for example, we issue every year 4 stamps per office, so a total of 12 endangered species stamps, in order to raise awareness on the plight of those species and its importance to biodiversity, not just for fauna and flora, of course, but to humanity. So to elaborate a bit more on issues that are dedicated to specific events, I would like to show this very special mini sheet, which was issued for the LDC5. That's the Conference on the Least Developed Countries, which was held in Doha last year. This one for the World Expo in Dubai. That's quite an old one from 2020, but this one is very nice. One is my personal favorite. It's an artistic representation of the Knotted Gun, which is a sculpture based in New York, which highlights our commitment to disarmament and non-violence. Or, for example, those issues which we would consider to be more commemorative and therefore are only available for 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
I did mention that we were getting a lot of help and that we were passionate about different things. I'm a big tea drinker, so this was my idea, the International Day of Tea, in French, Journée Internationale du Thé, because it's a Geneva stamp. For those of us who are the most interested in climate, we have Climate Action Superheroes, or Super-Héros du Climat. This one is in also 2 currencies. Another one, which I think is most interesting, is Marie Curie.
Marie Curie is very interesting. IAEA is working so much on the Marie Curie fellowships.
Absolutely, but aside from the fellowship, it's also a pioneer in the science of radiology.
It's interesting to see how UNP is such a small division but coming up with so many interesting ideas. The world values, I see it's covering so many topics. Sustainable Development Goals, Endangered Species, Chinese Lunar Calendar, Indian festivals. Okay, and this looks something interesting.
It is, actually. This is an issue we did in 2012 for autism awareness. So you mentioned earlier, or you asked rather, whether we design stamp ourselves and we work with artists. In that instance, we worked with artists, and very special artists indeed, because all these drawings were done by autistic children. So this is our way of raising autism, but also highlighting the artistic prowess we are capable of. This is one of my favorite issues from the past 15 years. This one was a very special issue. We also worked with the IAEA's Office of Public Information and Communications in order to promote women in science and as well as encourage or at least highlight the Marie Curie Fellowship.
There are also stamps related to health issues, related to health promotion, global goals. There's so much.
Indeed.
So how long does it take for stamps to, let's say, be delivered, for a letter to be delivered in the US?
A few weeks. I can't give you an exact time frame because it depends on Austrian Post and USPS, of course, in that instance. So it might be very quick to arrive to the United States and then be a lot slower to be delivered by the United Nations Postal Service. It fluctuates a lot.
Okay, so how can someone order the stamps if he's not here, if he's not in the United Nations already?
So the easiest way is to go to our website, which is unstamps.org.
How can they post the stamps?
So these being UN stamps, they are only valid within the issuing office. That means if you are going to post a letter using a UN stamp, you have to do so from within the office that is issuing it. So for stamps, say in euros, for example, you would have to send them from the Vienna International Center. So there's a letterbox at gate 1, but you can also mail them directly with us here or simply by putting it at the Austrian Post mailbox. Some customers, however, decide to send us their letters. They just mail everything using a UN stamp. Then they put it in a bigger envelope, which is franked using Austrian Post stamps or whatever, from whichever country they are sending it, or simply maybe through DHL. They send it to us, we cancel it, and then we send it back via the competent postal administration. So, as I said, either Austrian Post, Swiss Post, or USPS.
And for which countries to which countries can I send the stamps?
All of them.
Worldwide?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as it leaves the UN office, the issuing UN office, it can go anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you send it, as long it's more about where you send it from. So as I mentioned, you cannot use these stamps to mail from anywhere in Austria. It has to leave from here, from the Vienna International Center. Same rule in Geneva, it has to leave from Palais des Nations, and same rule in New York, it has to leave from HQ. But it can go anywhere in the world, provided, of course, this country has a postal administration that will handle the delivery. But that's pretty much everywhere.
So I send in whatever currency I want?
So, in theory, here from Vienna, you're only supposed to use stamps in euros, because these are the ones we issue for the VIC. That's why they're in German, Vereinten Nationen, instead of United Nations. However, as a courtesy, we use a diplomatic pouch. For example, should you be sending something using a Marie Curie stamp, which is in Swiss francs, we will be sending it to Geneva via diplomatic pouch. Our colleagues in Geneva will cancel it, transfer it to a Swiss Post, which will then handle it. It will take quite a lot longer because, the time to pouch it, that's extra layers of security, scan, x-ray, dogs, everything again except done twice.
So it's best I send it in euro.
It's quicker, but it's about what you want, right? We have a lot of people who prefer stamps which are only issued in a certain currency. For example, the stamps we issued for the Year of the Dragon or the Chinese zodiac sign in general, those are in US dollars. So for our clientele who is interested in the Chinese zodiac, they prefer to use those and they're in US dollars. So the way for them to use them is to frame them here, we pouch it to New York, and then they handle it, and then our colleagues in New York cancel, give it to USPS, and it gets sent. It's slow, but it works.
And what are some of the stamps that you want to show to the people who are not aware that UN stamps exist?
Oof. We issue so many of them. Normally, when people ask me that question, I try to determine what interests them the most. But let's go with our most popular, or at least one of the most popular emissions, and that's endangered species. I think it's also something which is most important in today's world. Extinction and the lack of biodiversity, with so many species either threatened or becoming extinct. Of course, some of them are successfully rebred, but yes, it really depends what your favorite stamp is on what you consider the most important. Another very successful issue was Don't Choose Extinction. It's when Frankie the dinosaur came to the General Assembly and spoke to world leaders on the importance of us as a species behaving in a sustainable way and making sure we do not become extinct like dinosaurs did.
If you Google unstamps.org, you will find so much of cool stuff here. You can find personalize your stamps, on the basis of your on date of birth, year of birth, the celebrations that happened. One interesting series which I found was this crypto series, because by selling these postcards, they're promoting buying Ethereum coins. Also, there was a special series for UNESCO World Heritage where promoting uh, several places, several World Heritage sites. I found couple of other things, but I leave it up to you to explore
So
more.
thank you, Samuel, today for showing us and putting a light upon UNPA, stamps, United Nations mandates, and so much more.
Well, thanks for stopping by. I know we're a bit isolated here in this part of the building, but I'm always happy to tell people about what we do, especially to a younger crowd, since philately is not something so popular with us, but younger or more or less young generation.
And if you learned about something new today, like and subscribe.